My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode. My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode. My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. It is Tuesday, so you know what that means. This is your girl, Nurse Shar.
And I am Latricia Ali.
Hey, and we are back for another episode of My Better Living. This is episode 10. I can't believe we're 10 episodes in. Can we just celebrate that for like a hot second? Just celebrate the fact that we are 10 episodes in. We are still in the month of March. First of all, shout out to everyone that's watching live on Power Plug Radio YouTube. You can catch this show every Tuesday live, Power Plug Radio YouTube, or you can download the app, Google Play or Apple iStore, and you can listen while you drive. You can listen while you're at work or whatever it is that you're doing on Tuesdays at 8:30. You can catch myself and Latricia right here talking just some great healing, honest conversations about the struggle sometimes with being well and being healthy and healing and all of that. So I just definitely want to give a shout out to everyone who's already listening today. Well, let's get back to the fact that we're 10 episodes in, because I'm still on that. Like,
it is.
I mean, how do you feel about that? 10 episodes.
Episodes. Sheesh. Woo. And of great information. So if you haven't watched all 10, if you came in just now, or go back and watch them.
Watch them. Great episodes. we January we covered Cheers to New Beginnings. We talked about all new beginnings. February we covered Matters of the Heart. Great information there. So go back and catch some of those videos. And this month is all about nutrition. The theme this month is You Are What You Eat, because that is so true.
Literally, okay?
Literally, you are what you eat. And so today we are, the Nurses Station, we're talking about eating more plants and incorporating more plants. This is one of my favorite topics, and anybody who knows me, who's close to me knows that this is something that I love talking about. I love this space of, getting into this. And I'll tell you later about how it really did change my life. I think it kind of saved my life. But let's just talk. And next week we're going to talk about gut health. And so I don't want to talk too much about gut health today, because gut health deserves its own time.
Yes, it does. I mean, so many topics, so many different. Yes, so let's not get into it.
We're not going to get into it, but it deserves its own time. So we're going to
Yes.
get gut health its own time. But I do want to talk about just a conversation that Latricia and I were having before we got started about the foods that we eat. And I shared a story about how many of you know that I've gone plant-based. I've been plant-based almost 3 years now. And many years ago, I couldn't eat shellfish anymore because it would give me really bad stomach pains. Okay, well, I learned a couple years ago that I have a gluten sensitivity, and I didn't know. And I mean, I knew when they told me a couple years ago, but I'm like, well, how bad is it? And it's gotten to the point where it's bad, and I had to tell myself, listen, it's you with a gluten. So for the last couple weeks, and I'm just going to keep it real, last couple weeks, I've been, last 2 weeks or so, I've been very, very strict about gluten, anything with gluten, substituting out stuff that, ensuring everything's gluten-free. And I feel so much better.
I'm happy it worked.
I feel so much better. I feel like, okay, now I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting somewhere with, how my insides feel. So, but we're going to get into gut health. I just had to share that story.
Yeah. And the great thing about the journey is once you feel how good, you see how good you feel after giving it up, you want to hold on to that good feeling.
Listen.
And it pushes you to make the changes.
It does. It does. We're talking, it's March now. For those of us or those of you, or I'm going to include myself because, I did make some, I wouldn't say resolutions, but I made some promises to myself this year that I was going to do more self-care. And speaking of self-care, I just want to segue really quick. Ladies, if you're out there, She Wins Totally, this Facebook group. Go to Facebook. Go to She Wins Totally. Add yourself to that group. Join that group. Currently, She Wins Totally is doing a 21-day challenge where you just challenge yourself as a woman. It is Women's History Month. It started on the 10th, but it's not too late to jump in there, get started on something that you want to challenge yourself to do. So go ahead and do that now. So, tonight there was an excellent live video. There's periodic. So the next 21 days, there's going to be live periodic videos, just words of encouragement. And tonight's live was awesome. Sister Naira was awesome. Just talking about self-care and making promises to yourself and promises to, yourself, even in the terms of developing a mission statement for yourself and what you want to do with you, and it's like, wow, how companies have mission statement and you work towards their goals and the things that they want for their company, but having that for yourself, it was just really, a great space to be in that moment, to listen to her say that and just affirm, So at the beginning of the year, I made some promises to myself and that I would be, better to my body, better to myself in terms of listening to, what sometimes you're moving so fast and you don't listen to what your body wants or doesn't want. And so, taking that time to say, I'm going to start listening, it was me or the gluten. Like,
yeah, like, and then the main thing is people are like, oh, I don't want to give this up, or oh, I'm going to lose this, but you will give up anything once you feel that feeling that it feels to give it up. You don't care what it was.
I don't care.
It's like, but I want to hold on to this feeling so it can go.
I agree 100%. Like, I want to continue to feel like this, and I want to continue to feel better. So, you know, I'm gonna look for the next culprit. What else?
right. And you just go down the list.
Next culprit? What else? You know, because let's just get into, you know, and before we get into the nurse's station, I do want to talk about, you know, go back to My Better Living. I have some great videos, one of which talks about mindful weight loss. You know, a lot of us, you know, that are a little bit more fluffy. You know, everybody wants to be fit, you know. More than anything, I think people want to be fit. I don't think anybody walks around and is like, I want to be skinny. Yeah, I think people just want to be fit and they want to be healthy. I think that's like the name of the game. And in order to do that, you have to have some serious conversations with yourself. Yes. You know, you have to mindfully commit to, you know, being healthy and what you know, deem as healthy. And it really, I think, is how you feel.
Yes.
If something's not feeling, like every time I ate shellfish, my stomach would hurt. That did not feel good. I had to switch course. Like, okay. And that was like an obvious one. I mean, it landed me in the hospital with morphine in my arm. Like, that's how bad the pain was. But, you know, other things are not as obvious. And I had a gluten sensitivity for a very long time and didn't realize it. You know, I would get like these periodic like rash on my back, and I didn't realize. You know, I remember when I was in nursing school, I broke out in hives, so I thought it was just like a reaction to maybe, you know, at one point I thought it was shingles. Maybe I was like, is this shingles?
Is something.
And finally, the doctor told me what it was, and that it's a reaction to gluten. But even still, it's a reaction to gluten and stress. And I said, well. I kept eating the gluten to the point where, as long as I wasn't stressed, nothing was. It was fine. But then finally, now it's just kind of like just taking over. I get bloated. It's just it doesn't feel comfortable anymore. So I'm like, all right.
You can't ignore it like you used to.
Took me down the dead end road. Nowhere left to go.
But it's all good. It's fun finding the substitutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Switching out the recipes.
You know what? Let's get into the nurse's station.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about plants and plant-based eating. So as you know, the nurse's station is sponsored by the Bird Cares nonprofit organization. Dealing with the challenges of today requires problem solvers who bring different perspectives and are willing to take risks. The Bird Cares emerged out of a pursuit to inspire and support the community and a desire for actions to speak louder than words. Established in 2017, they're an organization driven by progressive ideas, bold action, and a strong foundation of support. The Bird Cares is dedicated to improving health outcomes in high-risk communities, one message and event at a time. Their mission is to inspire health and behavioral changes among families and communities through health promotion, target marketing, and education. Let the Bird Cares take your messages from idea to reality. And so we're going to get into plant-based living. Give it up one time for plants and plant-based living.
My homies, plants, trees.
So
flowers.
I'm like so excited about this topic because, you know, I really and truly, like, I want to be real. Let's just get real for a second about plants. I'm going to be real. I'm going to tell you in 2017, 2018, if you told me that you was a vegan or like plant-based, I'm like, so what you, I'd be making jokes. Like, so what you, like air and grass. Like, I didn't understand the whole concept. I did. I'm not going to lie. I did.
I did too. I used to make fun of this lady of who I work with. She used to like pack her lunch and stuff. We'd be like, lady, you crazy. I'm finna enjoy this KFC mac and cheese and the chicken, mashed potatoes, extra gravy. And she used to tell us like, you'll start to feel the difference. We was like, whatever, lady, and eating it. And now if I ever see her, I'm going to tell her, you were right in that break room, ma'am. You told the
you were
truth.
on the right path. You were on the right path. And I will tell you, last week, was it last week? No, week before, we started out Nutrition Month talking about fad diets. And we talked about, the different types of fat. I've tried. Go back and listen to that. You'll hear about all the diets that I've tried.
I just remember. Sorry.
But for me, I felt like not eating. There was probably a point in time when I was like a teenager when I remember only eating like fish and chicken. Like I didn't eat pork and I didn't eat red meat. And I couldn't tell you why. It just seemed like a good thing to do at the time. But I was eating everything else. I just didn't eat pork and beef. Okay. But this time, it was different. I almost felt like my life kind of depended on it for a minute. You know how on TikTok they got these little challenges, put a finger down if you're this, or put a finger down if diabetes runs in your family. Put a finger down if heart disease runs in your family, like high blood pressure.
There we go.
Put a finger down if cancer runs in your family. Like, different types of cancer. Yep.
I mean, my grandmother and my great grandmother both ended up having triple bypass surgery.
Whoa.
Both. And I was like, okay. And I mean, my mother, she's on her journey with rediscovering because, she doesn't want to end up on that path. And I decided it was early for me. I was like, no. As soon as I realized what the connection was,
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about the connection.
Well, the connection is the recipes. I mean, my grandmother was known for cooking, and she enjoyed watching people eat her food, and to the point where she wouldn't even eat until everybody else was done. But that was her. She was known for her food, her collard greens, her pound cakes. I mean, you name it, she made it. Lemon meringue. She made the meringue from scratch. Like, anyway. Yeah. So her recipes.
She's serious.
Yes. And what did she do with that recipe? Pass it down to her children because she cooked for them. They learned how to cook from her. And food wasn't really like a conversation, really. It was like food was just a thing, but it wasn't seen as something to do with your health. It was like, if you exercise, it don't matter what you eat type thing, So that got passed down. And then, so of course, my grandmother started cooking the same way as my great grandmother. And I'm telling you, around the same age, they ended up having to have the same surgery. Wow. I was there for my great grandmother's, and she actually ended up passing from it because she was too old and she didn't recover from it. She never went home, pretty much. My grandmother, she came home, thankfully. Other things started to happen though after that. And she ended up passing from dementia. And then, like my mom, we're working on her food plan. I mean, everybody is along different spaces in their journey, and she's getting to the point where she's seeing that there has to be a change made. Right. And it's funny that, I'm the person that can help her with that. So it's like, it almost, yeah. And I've been changing my eating. My husband, I'm proud of him. He's been doing eating for his blood type. So we've been discovering different recipes and, things like that where he feels like it'll help him feel better. And
it's that feel better part.
Yeah, it's the feel better.
I like to tell people food shouldn't make you feel bad. Like, we're so used to this myth that on Thanksgiving, we get the itis. We all know what the itis is, and that you're supposed to get that.
Yes,
like you're not supposed to feel like you want to be in a coma.
Itis is not a good thing. Itis is not a good thing.
No. I mean, and this was so. I'm gonna tell you some. We're gonna go over some benefits of plant-based eating, but before that, I'm gonna go over some myths or things that I thought beforehand that I realized that I was wrong about. So with plant-based eating, I thought, I would have to take like all of these supplements in order to get more protein or whatever it is I was going to have to get, which is not true. I did not have to take all these extra supplements just to meet vitamin or whatever.
Yeah.
Because plants, so, defining plant-based eating, let's just go back there, because I think a lot of people get confused. There's so much terminology these days. The vegan. So I started off with a 30-day vegan challenge. That was the challenge that I did. I did a 30-day vegan challenge.
I actually remember you posting about that.
You remember?
I remember. And you had some other people that were with you that were doing the challenge. Y'all were checking in. I remember the day that I saw you posted that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That was a good time. That was a good time. But since then, I realized that, there's like a spectrum of plant-based eating. Veganism is, more restrictive, where you completely avoid soy and things like that, and
anything that comes from an animal.
Yes,
any animal
that comes
product.
from anything, like you just avoid anything that's not just organic. There's like really strict versions of that to even raw vegans, where they just eat raw food.
And there's so many vegans.
There's so many vegans.
Most people hear vegan and they think plump, but
I'm telling you, grass and air. That's what I used to think, grass and air. However, but plant-based eating, I think, encompasses more than just that. I think plant-based eating is when you eat more fruits and vegetables than you eat anything else. When 80
whole
or plus
foods,
percent
whole
of
fruits
your
and
whole foods come from plants and fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, even down to dairy and almond milk and just things like that. So that's what I interpret plant-based eating to be. Eating more whole foods, less processed foods, and not eating meat. I don't eat meat. I don't eat seafood. I don't eat shellfish. I don't eat any of that, chicken. But I told you about the gluten.
Yes.
So the next culprit on the list was soy. I had to kind of get rid of the soy too. So I had to get rid of the soy. And it made me feel better. I just want to say.
Oh, good.
It did. I had to. I don't want to. I don't know. I keep saying this, but it just made me think about the things that you eat as a substitute. Some people, when they're eating plant-based living, they substitute meat like chicken or whatever for soy products, tofu, tempeh, but you can do that with mushrooms. Things like that. There's different ways that you
so many different types of mushrooms that hold so many different types of textures.
Yes.
So you can have a chicken texture, you can have a burger texture, you can have a chicken sandwich texture, fried chicken texture. Just it's all about how you season it. And ding ding ding, seasoning is plants.
Yep.
Seasoning is plants.
So she connected those dots.
And that's all you need. And another myth or something that people often get asked about being plant-based is, where do you get your protein?
That's what I said. I used to, think that you have to take all these extra supplements.
Yes.
Just to be.
Yes. But I saw something somewhere. It was like, it was a doctor. He was like, we never get anyone in here and say you have a protein deficiency.
No.
So where did the craze come from about protein?
I don't know.
And
I think that because they equate meat with protein.
It's like but
so
your
if
meat,
you're not doing that. But okay, so let me just say, so maybe you don't eat meat, but you want to eat eggs, and that's still considered plant-based to me, because if you're eating fruits and vegetables and you have a boiled egg here and there, it's a protein source, and it's. To me, I really wanted to strip back those titles. I feel like plant-based eating should be inviting for people. It's one of the best things I've ever tried. When I said put a finger down if your family has diabetes, my family has diabetes. I put my finger down. My family has a history of diabetes, and I want to break that mold. I don't want to be the next family member who's stuck with, needles and finger sticks.
If
I can do something to prevent it, if I can do something, which is what was happening some years ago when I decided that I need to change. Something needed to change drastically. And so that was like the first step. But as I said, I'm starting to learn new things. Once I, go into plant-based, it's not just, overnight I'm plant-based. And I think anybody who's considering going plant-based and really delving into that lifestyle, just be patient with yourself.
And plant-based and vegan are not the same.
No.
You can eat meat. Technically, by the definition of plant-based, it's eating more whole fruits and vegetables in your diet than anything else. So technically, you can eat meat and still be plant-based.
Right. There's pescatarians.
Yes.
Eat just seafood, and the rest of their foods come from fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
So
that's the diet that I've adopted.
The whole idea is to eat more fruits and vegetables. And a lot of people, and I used to think that, okay, well, you have to do everything all at once, and everybody can't do that.
It's not sustainable.
If you really want to ease into a plant-based lifestyle, start off with like days. You have days where, okay, I don't eat meat on Fridays. I know that some people do that. I don't eat meat on Fridays. Okay, maybe one meal a day. So you say, okay, my breakfast is going to be plant-based. My lunch is going to, start out small.
What if you don't take anything away? Just add an apple.
Right.
Add some more fruits. Add a salad. So that way, because a lot of people go into it thinking they're going to lose so much.
Oh, man.
So if you just add instead, and you'll scale back on the other things.
Let me tell y'all what I had the other day, right? It was so good. And I said to myself, wow, this is a time where, I got excited because, like, I made it. I had been thinking about this for a while, and I finally made it. I finally made it right. And so I wanted like a nice meal. I'm like, I want something. It's Sunday.
I know what you mean.
They eating crock pot meat falling off the bone, and
something hearty. And
I want something, like a steak. I want something too, you have me over here eating grass and taking care. So I got these nice portobello mushrooms, and I got to go to the mushroom place you told me about. These nice portobello mushrooms, and I made like a little marinade, and I marinated them, and I grilled them.
There you go.
When I tell y'all,
cook it like me, y'all.
I wasn't eating a piece of steak. Tell.
With some A1 too. You can
listen,
even
the
A1.
texture, the taste, like you could not tell me.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Then I had like I have a spiraler. So I took some zucchini and some squash and I spiraled it like noodles. And then, normally they tell you, oh, well, if you marinated meat, you couldn't, use the marinade again because it's meat, but not with plants. So the rest of the marinade I kind of put on.
Yes.
So you couldn't tell me I wasn't eating some noodles and steak.
And wasn't it so satisfying?
It was so
hit the
satisfying.
spot. I know it did.
That was the biggest thing, I think that some people don't want to venture out into going. And we're going to give you some benefits. I'm just telling you how I feel in my experience right now. But we're going to give you some benefits to going plant-based.
Absolutely.
But I think that a lot of people think that they have a lot, like you said, a lot to give up. And that was one of my things. Even though I heard a lot about plant-based, I've seen people who've gone plant-based and seen the results in terms of how they feel, how they say they feel, how they look. And I just, in the back of my mind, kept thinking, oh my God, this is going to be like a sacrifice. This is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to sacrifice. And then I realized as I'm getting more and more into it, I'm not a plant-based guru, but I'm learning more and more, 3 years in, I'm learning more and more about my body, about what my body likes, what my body doesn't like, and I feel like I'm giving my body the opportunity to decide what it likes. And I'm getting older. I'm not getting younger. So I think it's time that we listen to our bodies and do what our bodies want us to do. Like, I remember somebody told me, that if I wanted to eat like crab or shrimp or shellfish, that I could just take a Benadryl. Or why would I do that? I don't.
That's more common than you think.
I don't want it that bad. I'll just not eat it.
Yeah. If I got to combat it with some medicine, I probably just won't do it.
Just not eat it.
Yeah.
That's just. I'll just not eat it. So let's talk some benefits.
Yes.
Let's talk about the benefits. So why am I harping on the fact that plant-based is wonderful? Plant-based. This isn't me just being all gung-ho plant-based because I'm plant-based. This is me being gung-ho plant-based because I believe in this adoption of lifestyle and habits as a real way to keep your body healthy and as a real way to really just manage a lot of the stuff that you got going on in your life. Sometimes what we eat, and again, we're going to talk about gut next week, what we eat so much just affects our mood. It affects how we go about our day. It affects a lot, diseases, illnesses, there's a lot that comes with it. So here's some reasons why I harp on it, because I feel like this is free game. This is not like some top secret. So it supports your immune system. So let's just think about this. Let's put this in context about supporting your immune system. When you get sick, what do they give you? Don't they give you soup?
Yep. Crackers.
Soup.
Ginger ale.
Soup. Things that are, nutritious. One of the things they teach us as nurses is the importance of nutrition to the healing of wounds, to the healing of, people post-surgery, really getting good nutrition in. So why wouldn't eating more plants that are full of, and I can't even, I'm not an expert in all the different vitamins that the plants have and the photovitamins and all the wonderful antioxidant properties and that exist among plants.
Well, that ties into you are what you eat, because plants are alive. Plants are alive, right? So if you're healing from something, or you're trying to get your cells to go back to normal, if you are eating dead food, you're putting dead cells in your body. Like, your body cells regenerate in an astronomical amount. Okay, so you literally are what you eat, because it's creating the new cells from the food that you digest. So if you're putting dead cells in there, the cells aren't going to do anything in there. But if you put live food in there, your cells talk to each other then, the electricity of it. So, yeah, I'll touch more on that later, but I'm sorry.
No, keep going. That's great. But it's good stuff. This is free game. I'm telling you.
Yes.
This is free game. Another reason that plant-based diet is good for you is plant-based foods reduce inflammation. Inflammation. Like and I'm at a loss for words, only because I feel like there's so many people, and including myself at one point, I will say, that was so, that didn't really understand and know the part that inflammation just plays in how we feel. You see these memes. I've seen these memes, and it's like, where they say, when you turn 30 or when you turn 40, how you just when you turn 30 or when you turn 40, you start feeling achy or whatever in your bones and this and that. And I said, you know, a lot of that is just inflammation. And a lot of that inflammation is coming from the foods that we eat. Like, this is a perfect example of talking about the glutinous foods that I was eating and how it made me feel. You know, you ever I've had this before. I don't know if you have this before. You ever take a picture of yourself and you're just like, oh, I look puffy. You know, you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you just looked puffy, or you looked, you know, could be some inflammation.
Yeah. And new relationship with inflammation, right? Inflammation is not bad. Inflammation is just a messenger. Inflammation is supposed to happen when your body has to fight off something. You want that inflammation, okay? Now, the issue comes from chronic inflammation, where your body is constantly have to fight off this thing. And that's when the body gets tired, and that's when you get susceptible to other things. So inflammation is good. It just gives you something to pay attention to. Oh, my knee hurts today. What did I eat? What caused the inflammation? Oh, it feels better today.
Inflammation is good when you break your ankle. It'll get big so that you don't move it. Stay right there. So we can stay right there so we can fix some things. But like you said, walking around generally, chronically, with inflammation, especially like, okay, well, and I'll say this, you know, my ankles probably kind of weak. But
Achilles.
I've kind of, it is my ankles. But before I went plant-based, when I would get up in the morning, I would always feel, I sprained one of my ankles, and I would always feel it when I would get up in the morning. And you know, it's easy for me to say, oh yeah, I'm getting old, or oh yeah, that's an old injury, but it was just inflammation that was more than likely just brought on by what I was eating. And so I have all this stuff floating around, you know, like you said, now I have all this stuff. So every day, but once I started going plant-based and it just reduced my overall inflammation, that pain went away, like literally went away.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, my body just feels so good.
I'm not injured. I wasn't injured anymore. That injury happened years ago.
Yeah.
But we keep these foods on board, and we keep these, you know, sort of toxins and other type of foods that create, and you never know. You know, I think you need to look inwards. Like, what is it that, like, I'm gluten sensitive. Somebody else may do fine with it, but you know, that's me. I'm gluten sensitive, and I don't like the way it makes me feel, so I gotta let it go. Soy, you know, not good for me either. I gotta let it go.
Soy is really not good for anybody. That you will not find soy as a need in anybody's diet.
Right.
Nobody's.
True.
It is not needed. True. So, and I can't be a yoga teacher up here and not say that some of the aches and pains when you get older also come from not moving your body. I always say a body in motion stays in motion. And when you stop moving, like, we could all be today as flexible as a baby if we just started moving our body and reminding our joints what they can do. But when we don't, you know, like when my grandfather, right, he passed, and he used to be like, no, I ain't gonna hang around no old folks. They'll make me die, you know, make me get old fast. And it's because he moved a lot. So he feel like he would start to hang around people who weren't moving. Then that's when the downfall happens, you know? So
that is true though.
Yeah. So move your body. That's gonna alone help with the aches and pains. So
right. Okay, you ready for another benefit? So far we gave you 2 benefits. Another benefit is that a plant-based diet can help you maintain a healthy weight. I 100% co-sign with that. You know, I don't look at plant-based eating as something that's just like a fad diet. Okay, I'm going to do it to lose weight and then go back to eating how I was eating before. I mean, that never works, right? Plant-based eating has been the first thing ever that I've ever tried to do diet-wise that didn't feel like a chore. It didn't feel like a chore to find different options.
You know what?
Like my mushroom steak. I'm telling y'all,
Yeah,
it's so good.
when you change it, you'll realize how much you did not see what was already in the grocery store all this time. The options,
I realized why it was.
yeah, the options are there. The options are already there. It's just that you're not looking for it. And in your journey, you'll be at a place where you'll see that, dang, all of this was there. They
All of
carry
this was
that?
here.
Y'all had ginger root this whole time?
Like, where?
Y'all got turmeric root? Huh? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Is this a whole aloe plant? Like,
Listen.
you start, so it's there. We just have to get to a point where we're looking for it.
And this is the thing with plant-based eating. So, I think it can definitely help you lose weight if you have some weight that you want to lose. Initially, it does. But plant-based eating alone won't keep off, extra pounds. I mean, some of the biggest animals in the world are plant-based eaters.
Elephants, apes.
So, ultimately, you still have to manage your calories, even while you're eating plant-based in order to maintain. But, eating plant-based foods and more plant-based foods is just good for, getting weight under control and maintaining a healthy weight.
Yes, absolutely. And the calories are different as well.
They are.
Like a cup of spinach or 100 calories of spinach versus 100 calories of lamb, right? It's just very different calories.
They are very different
They're
calories.
molecular differences. And what I was going to say earlier, with how do you get your protein? Meat eats the plants. That's how the meat gets its protein. So when the animal eats the plant, then it has protein. So what's actually happening when you eat meat is you're getting the recycled protein. Right. So why not go right to the source and get the protein?
Right to the source? I like the way you say that.
Without I'm just going to tell you, without the disease, without the blood, pus, guts, all of that, you can still get exactly what you need straight from the source.
Because that didn't convince you. I don't know what. Well, but no, you're 100%. You're 100% correct, especially in the portions of the foods. Meat is more dense in the calories, and so a smaller piece of meat might fill you up, whereas you can eat a whole room full of spinach.
Oh my gosh.
And it has a different effect on your body. You're absolutely right. It just has a different effect on your body. So yes, plant-based definitely helped me maintain a healthy weight, even through the pandemic, maintaining, good vitals, I would say, good lab work, even though I had everybody put on a little fluff pounds, a little quarantine 19.
Yeah, the COVID-19.
The COVID-19 pounds. But it helped me maintain my good innards, my A1C was still in check. My, I was keeping, things in check internally, even though, little fat deposits kind of started to expand their territory on my body. But
I thought about you earlier.
You did?
Yeah, I did, because I remember what you said before, that like I may not look like I'm plant-based, but I am.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you do look like you're plant-based. Do I? And yes, and I don't want you to put it to your size, because I've seen people who look like they're uncomfortable walking and they can't move very well, and this foot is barely patting down type walking. But you move very well, and you're very beautiful. So stop saying that.
Thank you. I will say that was a bonus to go on plant-based as well. My skin started looking really, really nice. I went through, like, the first time I went plant-based, I went through like a little moment though. It's almost like my body was like detoxing or purging, like that, like that first time. A lot of gas. Don't be afraid. It goes away.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gas in the beginning, especially if you're not used to eating that much fiber.
And it's literal gas. It's air. It's not even really gas. It's not going to smell like the air that passes by rotting meat in your system.
Oh, no.
It's just going to be passing air.
Right.
Like,
oh, no.
Just saying.
So, another benefit. This is a perfect segue. Another benefit. we were just alluding to this. Plants are high in fiber, which is really, really, really important for prevention of colon cancer, which is very common among Black men. So, there's high rates of colon and prostate cancer among Black men. So keeping some fiber in your diet. Fiber is the roughage. The roughage that think about if you had to unravel your intestines.
Oh my goodness.
How long it would be. I don't know the exact specs. I'm sure they told me
it's long, like 20 something
in nursing school or something, but it's really, really long, and it's all coiled up around each other like a Disney ride, and it's shoved into your gut. And so just imagine as you're eating things, the amount of things that can get trapped in places. And stuck in places. It's the truth. Our producer over here falling out. But it is the honest to God truth that things can get stuck in places, cause inflammation.
Especially corn. Corn does not digest.
Corn does not digest. It doesn't. It's like, I feel like corn sometimes, even though it's like it's becoming a nice garnish for me, because it's you're gonna see it later.
Now popcorn is fine because it's popped,
right?
But kernel corn, like corn on the cob and stuff like that. No. This is a true story. Someone I know hadn't eaten corn for over a year, had a colonoscopy, found corn. Yes, and the guy who did it, he was like, "Oh no, it's common. Yeah, corn does not like." He was like, "Yeah, I don't eat corn because I see it all the time. Corn does not digest, and it gets tucked away. So scrub it with the roughage, okay? It literally scrubs your intestine all the way out, pushing it down.
Yes, but coupled with that is water. And I can't say enough how much water. I don't even care if you're plant-based. If you're not drinking water, I don't know what you're drinking. Like, you must be drinking acid.
And there's people that brag about, I don't like water. I don't drink.
What are you, 5?
I automatically am like,
Get you some water. It'll also, if you're going plant-based for the first time, I found that increasing my water intake helped with the gas. And so it wasn't as bad, because gas can be kind of painful.
Yeah, and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and very uncomfortable. So plants are very high in fiber. Make sure that you're cleaned out.
Right.
All in there. So
it makes it a smooth move.
Right. Another benefit, plant-based eating reduces your risk for other diseases. We talked a little bit about the fiber and the colon cancer, but plant-based eating is also known to keep your insulin levels lower in terms of when they're used and when they're not used. The resistance that a lot of people who are sort of at risk for diabetes, and let's just talk about risk factors, not just your family history. Your risk factors may include, at this present moment, if you are overweight, if you have a little, like me here, have like a little spare tire around the middle, apparently that, increases your risk of diabetes, because, this fat close to your vital organs. There's, if your body just isn't using the glucose that's in it right now efficiently, the insulin that you're producing is not doing enough job. You're on your way. This is like a slow road down to diabetes. And plant-based eating has been known to help, and in some ways reverse the effects of diabetes, and allowing your body to better utilize the insulin, and allowing your body to better utilize the sugars that's in it. But at the same time,
and we don't mean a long time reverse. 2 weeks.
Literally
2 weeks, people were dropping their medications. They have to have their blood pressure medication recalibrated, because now it's giving them low blood pressure, so they have to be taken off. So 2 weeks is literally the time it takes to see the turnaround if you want to make that change.
Exactly. And it's amazing. speaking of that, that's another benefit to plant-based eating, is that it can lower your blood pressure. There's a lot of people that were faced with high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, all balled up into one.
Yep.
And so plant-based eating has been known to lower, there's a lot less sodium.
Yes.
Plant-based foods. So I think that's another benefit.
Yes. And can I add something on a molecular level, right? We're electrical. Humans, we're electrical. If you don't think so, think about in movies when someone's about to go under in the emergency room. What do they get? What do you call it, EKG? Yeah, they get the EKG. Clear. Poof. So why would electricity bring you back if you're not electrical, right? So past that. Plants are electrical. They have an electrical charge. So to keep us going, we need live electrical plants because our body feeds off of electricity. So give your body that charge, that jump that it needs. And this is the difference between the itis and eating foods that recharge you.
Yes.
Because the itis is going to put you to sleep because what's happening is your blood is going from it. Your digestive system needs all the blood in your body to digest the food. So that's why you go to sleep, so we can do it.
So we can do that. So can you imagine that? So imagine that you're trying to lose weight, right? If you're anything like me, you're like, ooh, hot girl summer coming and I'm going to lose some weight, which, by the way, for those of you who promised yourself this year that you were going to get on it, how are you doing? Check in with me, Nurse Shar. So, if you are wanting to get ready. Now, I done told you to check in with me, and I forgot what I was going to say.
Hot girl summer.
Yes.
Hot girl body.
You want to check in for a hot girl summer. What were you talking about beforehand?
Lose it. I don't know.
Talk about losing weight.
Losing weight, right? That's all I remember.
Because then I got off track and I started thinking I just want the people to contact me and let me know how it's going because the struggle is real. I just had this flash right before me about losing weight and being committed. We're gonna come back to that though, 'cause I was gonna tell you something very profound.
It'll come back.
Yes. But back to plant-based living and benefits of plant-based living. Long term, it may help you live longer. So when we're talking about family history and family, longevity, or just longevity for yourself, you can be older and in a nursing home, in your bed.
Yeah.
Or you can get older and still be able to, do the things that you want to do and live, a fairly independent life.
My vision for that is that I am older and I'm running around chasing my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, literally chasing them. So that keeps me in the mind of doing what I need to do for that vision to come to fruition.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. 100%.
Can I just add real fast? Now, this has nothing to do with plant-based eating, but did you know beekeepers have the longest lifespan? Because the bees hum at a level that gets your vibration right? Look it up. Girl, they literally have.
So I need to listen to some bees is what you're saying?
I'm going to have a bee farm eventually. You know what I'm saying? Because bees like me. Me and bees good. No, I just had a couple bees land on me yesterday morning while I was outside drinking my lime water. And I was like, yeah, but listen, this is what happened. He called his friend over. She's cool. But then I was like, I can't stop this fear hormone from coming out anymore. Yeah. So I was like, let me just go in the house because I don't want to scare nobody. But
is that what they pick up?
Yes. So you got to try to keep your fear together because you let off something.
I just learned something new.
Yes. And bees don't want to sting you. If they sting you, they die because their stingers are screwed in. So when they sting you and pull out, they're pulling out their intestines and they die.
Oh my God.
So they don't want to sting us. Think about it. They don't want to sting us.
So why do they?
Because they think that you're threatening. They're either defending their queen, of course, or there's maybe honey, but they literally don't really sting you when they're by themselves or when they're pollinating and stuff like that.
Y'all have to do better, bees.
Yeah,
The
so
little social marketing strategies not working, bees.
Yeah, but their buzz is at a hum, like almost an ohm. So that constant
It's
buzzing,
like a frequency.
yes, and
so like I'm really into
off.
frequency music and listening to certain vibrations that you know help release certain negative energies or help you clarify certain.
Yes,
So that's probably what they
do.
They do. If this episode of My Better Living has not convinced you yet that going plant based is worth a try, I mean, we're talking even minimizing your risk of stroke. You know, minimizing your risk of stroke, increasing your brain power, good for your heart.
Yes.
Reduce inflammation. I mean,
and
the
of
list
course
just
it's good
goes
for
on.
brain
Clearer
power.
skin.
Yes.
Even getting the hormones in check, and that's another thing.
It helps bad breath.
Really?
Yes. Meat eaters.
Y'all heard that?
Usually, like ask a dentist.
I heard that.
Meat eaters usually have bad breath or worse breath than a plant eater.
Ain't that something? Go plant based. I think we've had 101 different reasons for you to go. And I will say, it literally, saved my life. I think diabetes is such a horrible disease. I mean, we're talking about literally, you remember how, like, I don't know if you guys if you've known this, or you probably do. Back in the day, they would tell you, don't leave, a bottle in the kid's mouth, especially if it has like juice or anything like that, because it basically just, leaks onto the teeth and creates rotten teeth. I feel like that's how diabetes is, where it's just sugar just floating around your body, stripping your body down, stripping your vessels down.
Yeah.
Just imagine sugar, and just imagine, something that's just, when they tell you when it's time to heal, they tell you to decrease your sugar intake. That's how your wounds heal. But imagine you just had so much just floating on, you can never heal. So diabetes for me is pretty bad. It's up there with pretty bad. And for me, going plant-based, I feel like got me off that path of being a diabetic.
I don't doubt it. And congratulations.
Got me off that path. And, every time I discover something new about how I'm feeling or whatever, like, I'm like, okay, I want to be off that, whatever it is that's not making me feel good.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. And that's what I'm just committed to at this point. And that includes eating more plants, eating more fruits, eating more vegetables. Finding different ways to make things so that I don't feel deprived, and encouraging other people to try it too, because I know that I've benefited from it, and I know that other people can benefit from it. I know that for a lot of you out there, if you tried it and really, I always tell people, try with your favorite meal. What is your favorite meal? Like, what is your favorite meal? And this is the age of the internet, so you can find everything anywhere. So if you told me that your favorite meal was oxtails, I can guarantee you there's not only an article there's a YouTube video out there right now telling you how to make vegan oxtails or out of mushrooms or something. And I can guarantee you, so find that thing, find your favorite meal, and find ways that you can flip that bad boy over to make it healthier or something that's more plant-based.
A place to start is Ghetto Vegans.
Ooh.
YouTube, go to Ghetto Vegans. Soul food, but vegan and plant-based.
Yes.
So
those are good options because, collard greens aren't bad. I love collard greens.
it's what we put in. It's a plant.
It's
Collard
a
greens
great
are
plant.
plants.
It's a great
Yeah.
superfood. Like, yes, I love collard greens, but you don't have to, you can enjoy collard greens without adding the negative effects of the collard greens,
Because it's
just
all
the
about
fat
how you
and
season.
extra. Yeah, it is. 100%. I'm getting funny looks, so it's time for us to go and get out of here. This has been My Better Living with Nurse Shar and Latricia. You can catch me on the socials, Nurse Shar RN. You can also find My Better Living for a playback and other videos, so make sure you tune in.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode. My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode.